Hey, what's up, guys? Quick video. This one is on OLED, and actually, it's not going to be very quick at all, so I'm actually sorry how long it's going to be. But this is about OLED technology, and when I mean OLED, I'm just generalizing the entire LG line, the new Sony A1E, and for those of you that are in the UK that can get your hands on a Panasonic OLED, it kind of covers that. Why I want to bring up OLED is that we've been talking lately about flash lighting, blooming, edge-lit bleed. For those of you that have the Sony displays or Samsung displays that are struggling with that are typically LED users. And we talk a lot about the panel lottery and how real it is. Now, OLED is not going to escape the panel lottery as they struggle also with vertical banding, poor gray uniformity. Some of them have burn-in quickly. These are also part of the panel lottery. It's just their weakness instead of LED's weakness. Now, why I do this video today is this video is for two users. We have Hawkeye and we have Keenan J. Now, Hawkeye has a C7 LG OLED, and he comes from a plasma background, and his OLEDs, he's on his second one, and it has pretty bad banding in his gray screen, and he can see it during normal viewing. And he's thinking about moving up to an LED. I don't mean moving up. I just mean he's moving to a Sony 930E. And he's apprehensive because he's come from a plasma background and he really loves the look of OLED. Now, Keenan J is on the other side of the spectrum where he has come from a plasma background and has picked up a 930E and is really struggling with perceived flash lighting. Now, I've seen the pictures of his display, and what it looks like to me is just simple blooming. But from somebody who's owned, sorry about the shaky cam, for somebody who's owned a plasma, flash lighting is crippling because they're not used to it. They've never seen it before. And those of you that have LEDs are used to some kind of clouding. You're used to some of that, especially when a scene fades from, a menu or a loading screen. You're used to seeing some clouding. Now, the strengths of OLED are obviously its perceived contrast with its deep, deep blacks, its very, very natural image and color production, and its biggest strength, in my opinion, is its viewing angle, which as we come to the side, that's the viewing angle. You can look down, you won't see any haloing. Look up, you won't see any haloing. Also, what you're looking at are black bars. This is not a full screen film and there is no blooming. They are black as night. Now, what's interesting about this is you're not looking at an OLED, you're looking at a plasma. So this is one of the last Panasonics that I have in my living room, and I love the image. And it's also why I probably am very sensitive to flash lighting and edge-lit bleed myself. So when I went from this display to the Samsung line, I really struggled. So why do I pass this information on? It's because I'm trying to get you guys to have the experience without going through it. And I know the video is going to be a little all over the place, so I apologize for it. I'm sorry that I don't have a tripod up here. But I kind of wanted to just show you the strengths of OLED and plasma. Now, plasma is basically the successor to OLED. It has all of its strengths. It does have some of its weaknesses as far as image retention and burn-in. I've had this plasma for 5 years, and image retention is real. Burn-in hasn't been for me. I think when it comes to OLED, and for what I did a few videos back, is I took kind of a poll, is it was split 50-50. Some people said their OLEDs burned in immediately, others said they've had no problems. From what I can deduce from that video and all the comments, is that like plasma, you just have to be super careful as you're dealing with a very, very high-end piece of equipment, and you have to just be careful with static images. I have no burn-in on my plasma. What you're going to see is some horizontal banding that isn't present here. It might kick in. I've just refilmed this like 10 times, so hopefully you guys can bear with me. So I digress. I go back to what I was saying is the plasma has those strengths, and we said the same weaknesses as OLED. Now, where OLED does struggle is OLED is not quite as bright as LED. It doesn't have the same HDR punch, though I kind of disagree with that because I love the HDR on OLEDs because the perceived contrast. The blacks are so deep that the displays look twice as bright. Now, this is a Panasonic. This display might be 300 nits. And we were in a pitch black room, and to me, it's plenty bright. It's a gorgeous image. So for me, it's not about, or for any of you guys, I don't want you to get so caught up in 1400 nits, 1000 nits, 2000 nits. It's just really about the overall picture quality. Now, going back to those two guys, is that one of them, like I said, you know, Hawkeye is on his second faulty OLED, which is having some banding issues. And now he's pretty fed up, but he loves plasma and he loves his OLED picture quality. But now he's being tempted. He wants to try something different. He wants to go to the 930E. And I cannot recommend that he does that. I'm trying to dissuade him and trying to say, look, do not do it because the blooming is going to make him crazy. Even if that 930E is perfect, the blooming is going to make him nuts. So this part of the video is really towards you guys that have plasmas or have had them in the past, and you're used to their perfect motion, you're used to their lack of judder, and then you grab an LED, and even a perfect one is making you crazy, and you can't wrap your head around it. So now you're looking for boogeymen in every corner because the black bars aren't black, and you're like, what the hell is going on? What is wrong with this thing? So I'm trying to warn you guys from that point. If you're going to go from a plasma to an LED, understand its strengths and its weaknesses. Now, on the other hand, you know, my other subscriber is going from a plasma to a 930E, and he loves the brightness, but he's losing his mind with the blooming. And we're trying to convey to both of these guys the push and pull. If one leaves the OLED and jumps to the 930E, you have to understand that the strengths might outweigh the weaknesses or might go the other way around. And that is something to really take into account, guys. You might cash in that deep, deep black for those crazy, crazy brights, but then understand that those awesome highlights you see in the 930E aren't there all the time. But that blooming into the black bars might be. Same with the 900E, or same with any LED versus OLED. And that's why some guys coming from an LED go into an OLED and feel like, wow, the picture's not quite as bright as I had thought it was going to be. So it's something to really take into account for. You know, number one, if the black bars are important to you, if you need them to be jet black like they are here, if the viewing angle at all is important to you, then OLED is what I recommend. For those of you that have had plasmas in the past, I know some of you, my boy Antoine had, who's on the channel, also came from plasma, and he really struggled with his 940E and his 930E initially. He got used to it, but it's just not the same picture quality. It's not better, it's just so different. And that's what I'm trying to convey to you guys, is the difference. Not one is better than the other. As you know, me on this channel, I have absolutely no desire to get into that kind of competition or negative talk. I don't care which is better or which. It's all about what you think is better in your mind. For me, I love them both, but it's hard to deny the strengths of plasma and OLED. And now I have the light on so you can actually see the black bars. And it's very similar to OLED, guys. But you guys can totally see where you can come from an image like this and then turn on an LED and totally ignore the brightness and go, what the hell is going on? And you're used to the viewing angle of a plasma. But when you look at a viewing angle, I don't care if it's a Z9D. When you go off to the side, you're going to see the brightness spilling out into the black bars. Which is why those of you that have LEDs, if you're going to send me pictures of your TVs, be dead center. What OLED allows you to do is be below it, be above it. That's not going to change. So if you need a wide viewing angle, OLED is the way to go. And if you hate that blooming, then I'm sorry, you really only have one choice, is to go into OLED. But just remember, guys, for every strength, if you want that high peak brightness, if you want your display to be 1400 nits, you need to give it some leeway into that blooming territory. Not the flashlighting we've been talking about, guys, but the blooming. You need to have a little bit more of a tolerance and not get too crazy to where your noses are right against the screen. Now, I'm always preaching for you guys to be your own advocates, to not settle, but we have to try to find that fine line between, being, very, very strong with our feelings in regards to what's good enough or just getting crazy. So when you're looking at, again, OLED, you want black bars, you want a wide viewing angle, you're coming from plasma, to me, OLED is the one and only choice. If you do decide to deviate from that choice and go into LED, just be very, very mindful, guys, that you're going to struggle with blooming. And that blooming might be very distracting. Just know that going in. And for the other guy who has his 930E, who is coming from a plasma background, I'm just trying to talk him off the ledge because he's out of his return window. And just to understand that, and also OLED is a great deal more expensive than what he currently has, at least where he is just accept that blooming is normal. So just doing a quick recap, I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, is if you're coming from that plasma background, guys, and you're used to the wide viewing angle and those black bars, then look into OLEDs. I know they're a little bit more expensive. It depends on what your region is. But if you're used to that kind of image, the best part about the new OLEDs is they do reach up to 700 nits. They are a great deal brighter. They're just the natural successor to plasma. So if you were plasma owners, and now it's the plasma owners I'm talking to, if that's what you love, if that's the picture that you covet, then that is your next logical choice. I'm not sure you're going to be happy with LED. And if you do decide to take the plunge to LED, just know that these are the things that are going to bother you. And if you're okay with them bothering you, then by all means. But I'm not doing my job here with you guys if I'm not honest. Me being a former plasma owner, I will tell you that I struggled with it. And I do use the word struggle, not to be dramatic, but it really is a struggle, guys. When you're running tests on these things, none of us are professionals. I don't want to spend hours, making sure I made the right choice. So just take what I'm saying, and you can learn anything from my struggle with it, and it saves you any time. That's all I'm looking to do. So that's my video on OLED. Again, this is not an OLED. For those of you in the comments that don't watch the whole video, this is a plasma. But I thought it would be a good example so you can actually see that black level, see those black bars, and understand what it's about. And those of you that, also are still in 1080p, this is a 1080p image. I think it looks just as good as my 900E. The difference is I can't get quite as close as I do my 900E. But also, if you're somebody that has a plasma 1080p and you want to wait for OLED to mature, then just wait, because 1080p still has very much life in it, and HDR to me isn't exactly a necessity just yet. So thank you guys for being patient with the handy cam, jumping camera of mine, and also, the little bit of color banding you're seeing in a nonsensical video. But I just want to get that home for those 2 subscribers. That's why they're going through what they're going through. So that's my OLED video, guys. Please leave all your comments. And real quick, back to the image retention situation. The video that I had done on that, you can go back and see that one. It's about 10 videos back, guys. It's about OLED. For those of you that want to buy one, look in the comments and you'll see all the different people that are commenting about their OLED experience. Most of them in the comments seem to be very honest about what they're experiencing. Some say they've had burn-in and image retention right away. Others have said they've never had it. Like I said, 50% is where I'm going to draw it down the line. Basically say that you have to just be very, very careful and you'll be fine. Meaning alternating content. I wouldn't watch 10 hours of football on the same channel. I wouldn't play 10 hours of gaming. Just be very, very careful and you should be fine. So image retention and burn-in are still a thing. If you have instant burn-in, then clearly that's where we go back into the panel lottery. Something's wrong with the panel. It shouldn't burn in 5 minutes. So that's my video. Again, sorry for it being all over the place, guys. I appreciate all the comments and all the very, very kind words. I want to wish you guys a happy new year. Today is the first day of the year. Hope you guys are all enjoying the new year and have nothing but happy and healthy days forward, guys. Thank you so much as always. I look forward to talking to all of you.